Like a Moth to Flame. Written by FiveNightsAtBarrys. Chapter 1. You shouldn't be there. The boy repeated himself for the 15th time. Leo ignored him, continuing his staring match with the brick wall. His dream tonight had found him in a relatively clean alleyway. The sun was shining, people were walking unbothered, and, as usual, the boy was rambling about how out of place Leo was. It was starting to get tiring. The boy looked like a normal teenager. His clothes were casual, his cornrows stylish, and his posture poor. Every day that week, he appeared in Leo's dreams. At first, he thought it was some Greek thing a la Fates, but nobody in the way station could offer up an explanation. Nobody knew who this kid was, and the kid himself wasn't giving any answers. This isn't right. The boy hadn't blinked yet. I get that, buddy, but I'm gonna need a little bit more info. Leo tried to get up in his face, but the guy towered over his 5'6" frame. The universe has gone off center. You should be here. The two stared at each other. All it took was a few seconds of silence to get Leo to scream out in agitation. On and on about the god-darn universe. What do you want from me? He placed the gravel crunch beneath his feet. For the first time, the boy seemed to really see Leo, not just look vaguely in his direction, but actually recognized his presence. I get it now. Leo opened his mouth to speak. However, all that came out were screams as the world around him started to melt like wax. Pools of clay surrounded his feet, making his attempts to run feel like running through molasses. And it was over, almost as soon as it started. Sweat covered his sheets and snot ran down his nose as he near slammed his head into the top bunk's frame. Slowly, Leo trudged to the bin in his room, tripping over his feet with every step. The remnants of his nightmare tended to linger throughout the day. He felt like he was seeing that boy in his peripheral vision. Already it had started, which definitely didn't help his nausea. Every day it was like this. Dream of that weirdo, puke his brains out, and then pretend it wasn't that big of a deal. If anyone asked him about it, rinse and repeat. Calypso hadn't noticed, and some part of him felt devastated, but another, it felt relieved. She finally confirmed what he always knew. Nobody would love him. It felt good to finally accept that and know she was done pretending for his sake. She's not a good actor. Anybody could see she would much rather be making music with some boy from band camp. At least this way he doesn't have to feel guilty for wasting her time, for accidentally convincing her he was worth it. Leo had enough feeling guilty, because when you feel guilty, you start asking yourself why. Why me? Why this? That leads down dark, dark paths. You have two choices. You are the fate's punching bag, or you are the root of every problem ever made. Either way, Leo would struggle to hold on to his pitiful excuse for why he was still trying. It would make giving up too easy. So Leo doesn't tell her. Emmy and Joe are darlings and would take time to hear him out, but they're mothers. They have a child. Leo didn't want to bother them with his constant issues. One day it's, I had a weird dream, and then it's the next and the next and the next. There would be no end, and Leo doesn't want to drag someone else on this journey with him. So Leo doesn't tell them either, or anyone. He's fine. He had already bothered them with his questions about the boy. Anymore, and they might think there's something wrong with him. And that's not their problem. They had already recommended asking someone from camp. The next step was forcing him to get help that he doesn't need, and he wouldn't have it. And so Leo got up from his spot, cleaned himself up a little, and went to breakfast like everything was normal. The thought of talking to everyone was daunting. Not that it mattered, because before he could even grab his door handle, a blue portal ripped open, sucked him into it, despite his attempts to hold on to the floorboards. The swoosh sound went unheard by the way station's inhabitants. Elsewhere, trees crackled and crunched under the slight wind flowing beneath them. The sound of ocean waves reverberated through the entire island, and dormant twin volcanoes stood proudly in the middle of it all. Any odd tourist may consider a permanent stay. The beauty could take over one's thoughts until it was all that was left. And amongst this paradise lay pandemonium. With ancient tapestries lining his walls, legions of ninjas at his beck and call, and one big, beautiful secret weapon. Ra's al Ghul, the demon head himself, was waiting in his grand hall. Something had happened. Reports of fires appearing around the island kept coming to his ear for days, but no discernible cause could be found. Someone had infiltrated his island. He couldn't understand why. This person was sloppy. Evidence littered the beach, and the trail went up until, presumably, they found some sense. This person was incapable. Ninjas had caught sight of them time and time again, and yet they evaded capture. It was intriguing. Crashes could be heard from outside the hall's walls. No doubts, priceless collections were smashed into extinction by now. Even so, Ra's al Ghul waited. He sat on his golden throne, sword by his side, and his mind prepped for any possible outcomes. But sometimes there was nothing you can prepare you for the nonsense the universe throws at you.
All right, man. I'll keep still. Jeez, you need to calm down.
Ra's al Ghul predicted the headache before it actually hit him. This person was loud, like the bird brats. He hoped they weren't teaching his grandson such etiquette, and Al Ghul must uphold certain standards. His ninjas entered, one dragging along the person who had intrigued him so. Sand and flames dotted the boy's skin. His clothes were tattered, his hair tangled by small twigs and leaves. On first thought, Ra's saw him as nothing special. Pyromaniacs were a dime a dozen, but he could feel something from the boy. His entire being felt pulled to him, connected to him, and he was going to figure out why. Reader's notes. As explained before, I cannot get this fic out of my head, so I decided that I was going to redo it after 4 months of it sitting on my YouTube channel. Remember to drink water, drive safely, encourage people to drive safely if you don't drive, and have a good day.